Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots. And it may be March here in New York City, but in 1993, it's time to hit the beach with Andrew Lee. It's Beach
Oh
Fest
man,
93, bro. How you feeling, Andrew?
surf is up. 1993 Beach Blast, man.
You know what I love about these events? They pick areas of the country that don't have any fucking beaches. And they just put like a tiki bar on the stage and like, oh, it's Beach Blast. Like
And
that's
sand. They had a lot of sand on
and
the
sad,
stage.
and they just go like, and then they just proceed to run like their regular show. Because
Yeah, and like there's no besides the beach themed like stage, there's no like beach themed match or anything like that. You
and
know,
there's
like
and the arena's not even they do fix it when Hogan shows up, but like they like when they do Bash the Beach, but they're like there's nothing. It still looks like a grimy arena. Like there's nothing that makes it
yeah.
feel like this is.
Well, like so like Halloween Havoc, they had that wheel of torture thing they had, right? And I like so they'll have, at least have one match that's like themed for Halloween Havoc. There's not one beach themed match. Like there's no one
Oh.
like like I think that's if you're gonna I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna do something like that, you need to have something like a beach theme. That's what I would
Well, I
think.
like I never watched the show fully, but I love seeing pictures of Bash at the Beach '95 because they did it on actual beach. And it just looks
Mm,
really cool. And I wish they did more things like that. I think like they couldn't do two events like that a year because they do Sturgis outside and they do Road Wild. And I also like that aesthetic. But yeah, like that. But I don't know. I feel like they fix it. I feel like Bash at the Beach '96, like even though it's still in an arena, it feels a little bit more like a beach, like '96, '98, you know? But here it just feels like they went like to Target. They got a couple of like things at the beach section. They were like, here, it's Beach Blast. All right, let's just have the
yeah.
show.
By the way, it's not Bash at the Beach. I think that's what it'll be eventually be. To this first one is just
Becomes
called Beach Blast,
yes, the
right?
first two are called Beach Blast, and then '94 they changed it to Bash at the Beach,
Yeah.
which I
Okay.
like
So
that name better anyway.
yeah, I think that's why they changed it. Beach Blast sounds I don't know, something about the way the two B words, it just doesn't sound good. Beach
Bash at the
Blast,
Beach sounds better, and of course, we all know Bash at the Beach is Hogan makes his debut at one Bash at the Beach. He turns heel another Bash at the Beach, and he gets chased out of WCW at the final Bash at the Beach. So
yeah.
a lot of
Speak
beach. Hogan loves the beach, and he loves drama at the beach. So
son of a beach, man.
mhm.
Beach Blast 93, a day at the beach, a night for revenge. Taking place July 18th, 1993 at Biloxi, Mississippi.
Known for their beaches. No, that's not.
Yes, everybody knows about the Biloxi beaches. 8,600 people are in attendance, and I do like the fun beach themed intro graphics that goes over all the matches. That's
Very
kind of fun.
90s.
Yeah, it's very 90s. It's like that very like Saved by the Bell 90s kind of feel, which I don't know. The thing about that is very I'm obviously in the 90s, so it's very nostalgic for me. So I liked it.
Mhm.
Eric Bischoff welcomes us to the arena, and there are fireworks going off. There are people in the audience bouncing around beach balls. There's about three or four beach balls going around.
That's nice.
Cesaro was very mad about all of
Mhm.
them. And Bischoff and Missy Hyatt, they're both in beach gear, and they're welcoming us to the show. Then they turn it over to Tony Schiavone, who's got like that burnt nose look, and
Yeah.
he's like looking for Jesse Ventura. Like, where's Jesse? Where's Jesse Ventura? Jesse Ventura's at the stage at a tiki bar with some hot babes, and he has to go like, "Oh, the pay per view's starting now," and he has to make it over to ringside with these hot babes, wasting a good 5 minutes of the show. This was
Yeah.
such a waste of time. I don't know why
They
they
did this last
always.
year too. Maybe this was in Jesse's contract. You get to hang out with babes.
Yeah, I don't understand why they always have to do this weird like long intro for Jesse Ventura. Like it just wastes so much fucking
But
time.
I feel like the way they justify is we have to do something that signifies that we're at a beach. So we'll have Jesse sit at the tiki bar with women.
I guess, yeah. Or maybe they were like, dude, we're paying you so much money, we can't just have you talk. We need you to walk as well. because it's just like such a
He
waste
should
of money.
walk with some hot chicks. Yeah.
Yeah. He had some hot babes with him.
Mm-hmm. Andrew Lee.
Enough. It is Ron Simmons versus the champion, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Fans are teasing him as Paula, as commentary goes over that Paul Orndorff can lose this title even on a DQ, which Jesse Ventura, he doesn't like it. But Tony Schiavone recaps why that is. This is, what do you call it? Orndorff has been trying to scam his way out of losing the title, so they put in a stipulation early on.
Somehow you keep muting yourself.
What?
Keep muting yourself. I don't know what you're doing.
No, I keep getting a phone call.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry.
Yeah, and I keep trying to like ignore it. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. It might be an urgent thing. I'm not sure, but we'll just have to wait for an hour. I hope it's not terrible. Anyways,
It's Tony Khan. He's calling you. He's like, I need help.
it's from Pennsylvania, so I think it could be my ex-girlfriend.
Oh, well, let's
Yeah.
let's just do the podcast then. Who needs it?
Yeah. So Ron Simmons, like I said, he has an edge early on until Paul Orndorff hits a sleeper, and then he hits a back suplex, but he misses a knee drop, which puts Ron Simmons back in the driver's seat. Ron Simmons, he backdrops Paul Orndorff over the top rope, and they call for a DQ, and Ron does a top rope shoulder block just because why the fuck not? This was a bummer of a match. It just ended in a DQ loss for Ron Simmons after commentary made a whole fucking like thing about how Paul Orndorff can lose it at a DQ. He can lose it at a DQ, and they just have Ron Simmons lose like in a DQ. It's so stupid to me. I thought that
Yeah, this was not a good opener. First of all, what a fall from Ron Simmons.
That's the problem. It could have been a good opener.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what a fall from Ron Simmons going from the world title to the TV title in the opening match, and he doesn't even get much of a reaction. If you weren't watching the show, you would not assume this guy was the last world champion they had, And then the finish makes him like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, actually.
And also, Paul Orndorff, look, I thought he had a great match with Cactus Jack. I kind of feel like his best days were behind him. I'm watching this guy, and this guy eventually costs Vader his job because they get into a fight. And then Paul Orndorff's there till the end. Like, he's an agent till the end, right? And I'm just like, man, I would not have given up Vader for this guy. I would have said, you know what? You have to be fired. Vader has to stick around. I just don't think they like Vader in the back, but I'm dreading watching more Paul Orndorff matches. This was not good. This was not a good.
No, I mean, I think Paul Orndorff is not a bad wrestler. Remember that match he had with Cactus Jack? That was
That's what I'm saying. That match was great, but he couldn't. If the guy's not up to task, he's the same way. He can't elevate anyone.
Yeah, but they weren't really given a lot to work with that stupid fucking.
No, finish. I know, but it wasn't very good even before the finish. So I even before the finish, I was like, when is this gonna end?
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
We're gonna go right into our second match. It is one of my favorite tag teams when I was a kid. Too Cold Scorpio and Marcus Alexander Bagwell versus Tex Salzinger and Shanghai Pierce, who are actually the Godwins.
The Godwins, baby.
Yeah. Bagwell and Shanghai, they start off, and then Too Cold and Bagwell, they have them right off the bat there. These guys are just like cleaning up on the fucking the Godwins until they do this move where the Godwins are on the ramp and Too Cold Scorpio tries to like launch himself over the top rope off of Bagwell's back, kind of like the Hardy Boys do, but he gets caught in the ropes and he just flips right over and falls on his ass, and the fucking Texans, they start beating on him, which Jesse Ventura, who's great on the commentary, does call out. He goes, try to get too fancy, and look what happens. Look what happened. You never go too fancy. Did you see
like
that when he tried to jump over the rope and he fucking got caught?
Oh, he looked like an idiot. He looked like a moron.
Yeah, he looked like such an idiot when that happened. Oh, that's the thing with high risk. When you don't pull off a move, you look so bad. It just looks really bad,
And back then, nowadays I feel like people are more forgiving of that, but back then I feel like especially announcers would just fucking lay into you when you messed up. Like Jesse Ventura has no chill. He's basically like, this guy's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but you know what? They should do that now. They
Yeah,
should
I
do
know,
that
but
now.
now the Twitter, you are so mean to Top Flight. No.
Yeah. Even the didn't get all of it. No, just be like, he missed him. He missed him because he went for a high miss move. He shouldn't have done that. Like they should just call it out.
Yeah. Hebrew.
No. All right. Okay. So Too Cold and
But he misses
Bagwell,
the
they
move.
start.
You gotta keep going because he misses the move because you got interrupted again by the phone call.
I know. Should we just pause and just call this person back? Because I don't think she's gonna stop calling.
No, because you have to leave, right?
No, I don't. I don't have to leave.
No, you just keep going. You just keep going.
Let's keep going. It's gonna. All right.
I
This is a
mean,
third.
we don't have a lot to say about this. I personally don't have a lot to say about this show. This wasn't a newsworthy show, so
Okay.
I hate to
So
spoil it for people wanting to listen to this. Like they're like, why the fuck am I listening to this then? But there's not a lot to say about this show. I don't think. Anyway,
So Too Cold and Bagwell, they fight back, and Too Cold and Tex, when they start the reset, Bagwell gets back in, and then a cheap shot has the Texans beaten on Bagwell. So this is where the heat starts coming in, where they start beating on Bagwell, including a really beautiful gut wrench sit out power bomb by Shanghai. This is Henry O. Godwin. That was a fantastic move. It should have ended right there, but it doesn't. Too Cold Scorpio eventually gets the hot tag in. He comes in, starts cleaning up. All four men are in the ring at the same time. Bagwell backdrops Shanghai, and then Too Cold Scorpio hits a 450 splash without fucking landing on this guy's head or fucking it up for the win. I like this match. I like this tag team. I like both tag teams.
I like this match too. This was a really good Godwin's match. I gotta say, now we're a few pay-per-views in, and you know who's been impressing me? Who's been really impressing me is Marcus Alexander Bagwell. I think he's doing really good. I remember him from his the Attitude Era, NWO era days. He's not that good. Obviously, he has a hard reputation for whatever happened in WWF when they do the invasion. But it's like this guy could go. I don't know. I think the problem is in WCW, especially when the Nitro era hits, you can fall on bad habits if you're considered a star. But here, he's fucking delivering, man. And I really enjoyed this match. I think Scorpio and Marcus Alexander Bagwell are one of the most underrated tag teams ever. What do you
I
think?
mean, that's why that was part of the reason why I really liked that tag team when I was a kid. They were good. If you watch his Dark Side episode on Bagwell, which came out this couple of weeks ago, he breaks his neck.
In '98.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and from there he just is not that good, I think, because he
But
broke
he
his
was,
neck.
but I feel like he was already kind of stinking up the joint around like 96, 97.
Possibly, yeah, yeah. He it is a even though some of that stuff in that episode is like you could tell it's a fucking lie.
Yeah.
Like because he's in it. He he says that that match he had on Raw was actually a good match.
No.
According to him, it was a good match,
I
right?
mean, well, I'll say this. They went out of their way to make it worse. WWF. They did not. There was they could have presented that match as a better deal. They already went in. They went in with the intention to sabotage that match.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're
He
already
does claim
you're
that.
working. You're working. Vince already decided this wasn't going to work before these two guys walked out.
He kind of claims that too. Actually.
Yeah.
He does. He
So
says,
it's like if everyone in charge is already against you, what are you supposed to do?
yeah, he said nobody gets fired over one bad match.
Yeah.
Which is he has a good point. But anyway, it is a good episode if you should watch it. Too Cold does not like him, but
Oh, really?
yeah, he does not like him. Missy Hyatt, she is with Paul Orndorff and the Equalizer, and she says,
Oh,
Ron Simmons almost won, and she knows a lot of guys who want his title. And Paul Orndorff says, yeah, well, guess what? I'm the John Wayne of wrestling. And he plays by the rules. I don't cheat like everybody else. I play by the rules. And he goes, but you know what? You're right. There's a lot of people coming after my belt. That's why I got this guy, my friend with me, the Equalizer, who will get even with lots of people. Who was this Equalizer?
he becomes David Sullivan.
Oh, Okay.
Remember Kevin Sullivan's like mentally handicapped brother who loves Hulk Hogan? Like,
Uh,
um,
Eugene before the Eugene.
dude, every now and then I see something that like is like embarrassing. Like every now and then WCW puts something that's like so fucking like ugh. And that was the way the way the Equalizer was acting. If I had been like in charge of WCW, I would have fired him as soon as he walked backstage. I'd be like, what were you doing out there? And also, who told you to do that? Because you know, it doesn't matter how good that last match was. It doesn't matter how great Ron Simmons looks. The production's definitely better from when the minute this guy walked out there, you're reminded you're just watching like Southern mud show wrestling. You're not really watching the big show. Because the guy just
Funny how, it's funny how you were right before this. You were talking about how like they had set up Bagwell to just fail. I feel like the Equalizer was set up to fail right from the
whoever
beginning.
told him to make those movements because he was like doing like these.
Yeah, but like it's like yeah, his fucking mask, his fucking name, just like everything about it. It's like somebody wanted this guy to fail. Like I
Yeah,
feel like there's no other explanation.
it just completely reminds you that this company was in the shitter. Like
Yeah.
it just takes you out of the show and is like this is so like pro wrestling in the worst sense, you know,
Oh,
not the
it's
good
so
sense.
bad. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the funniest part about this is like at the end of Paul Orndorff's promo, he calls Ricky Steamboat out and he calls him an old man. He's an old man. He got gray hair. He's balding. I was like, what? He says that about Ricky Steamboat. He's like, he's an old man. He's balding. And he's gray. It's like, why? Oh man, what a way
Meanwhile,
to
Paul
make it.
Orndorff looked 102. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's why it's even funnier. Oh, let's go to match number 3. Eric Watts, who comes out to no reaction at all.
No reaction.
Even though he's got these little USA flags, nobody fucking cares. He comes out and his graphic says Lord Steven Regal with Sir William.
Yeah, that was another thing. As soon as it just they can't stop fucking up, man.
They, I think they don't like Eric Watts. I just think people in the company just don't like him.
Oh, I don't think anyone liked Eric Watts.
I feel really bad for Eric Watts, and I'll tell you why.
He's not
When
that
you
bad. I'll
watch
tell you
his
that.
matches, he's not a bad wrestler.
No.
But the fact that he's Bill Watts' son, and Bill Watts is such a fucking dumb fuck, right? And he let's be honest, he got his job because of his dad. There's like he's fighting. It's so weird because like Dustin Rhodes, he gets such a good. I don't know why does Dustin get such a pass? Same shit.
Because they literally because I think we weren't watching the weekly show, but I think literally Bill Watts walked out one day and said, "Here's my son Eric Watts. He's gonna win all the belts," and then like the show was centered around Eric Watts like, the next week. Dustin Rhodes, it never was like the focus of like hours and hours right away. Like, you know, I kind of feel like they should have already put had Dustin Rhodes in the world title picture, but he's still kind of on the underneath. He's kind of still like just the semi main. He's not the main, and it literally went from Eric Watts. No one ever heard this guy to he's one of the stars, and people are like, this is fucking bullshit. They didn't do that with Dustin Rhodes ever. And also, Dustin Rhodes, though, is 20 times. Even though I think Eric Watts is a good wrestler, Dustin Rhodes is 20 times better.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Dustin Rhodes is on a different level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's Eric Watts versus William Regal and Sir Williams, who is Bill Dundee. I think at this point Bill Dundee might have been retired from wrestling. But he's dressed up. Sir Williams is dressed up like he's basically an English butler. Regal takes his time to start. He's in full gimmick mode, meaning like he's that whole, you know, snobby Englishman. Both men, they do a good when they finally start wrestling, they're working a really good mat game with Eric Watts working on Regal's left arm, and then Watts has the upper hand the whole time for the most part. Even puts the STF on Regal, only for Dundee to come across and slap him when the ref was not looking. This distracts Eric Watts, which allows William Regal to just roll him up and hold the tights for the win. Afterwards, Jesse Ventura, he is with William Regal and Bill Dundee, who is very tiny. Bill Dundee is so tiny. I had to look him up. He was 5'2". That's
The
John
short.
Silver, Rey Mysterio height. And Regal,
Remember when John Silver was over? That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was over and done with. Yeah, you know, he was Tony Khan's favorite action figure for a week. You know,
Yeah, that's fun.
William Regal calls Tony Schiavone a fool, and he says he didn't even break a sweat while beating Eric Watts while he's drenched in sweat.
That's so fun.
And yeah, and then he calls out Paul Orndorff for the TV title. What did you think about this match? What did you think about the promo afterwards?
I really liked this match. I thought it was very good. You know, that's the other thing. The fun thing about watching these in order is that you get to, and I think we've done it now with like 3 or 4 wrestlers, you get to disprove everything people say in these podcasts. Because I think when Jim Ross and Bruce Pritchard and Jim Cornette go on their podcasts, they're kind of assuming that you're not sitting there painstakingly watching everything in order. So you can see how someone actually improves. And then you just make up their own bullshit, you know?
Yes.
And I think a lot of people have just made up lies about Eric Watts' in-ring quality. I thought he held his own. William Regal, who, you know, as we know, is one of the greatest technical wrestlers ever in WCW and WWE. He held his own, and I thought he did a really good job. And it's nice to like actually watch these people and be like, I get why he had the backlash, but at a certain point, people should have like either changed the name or gave him a shot because he is a good worker. He gets the job done in the ring.
You know what it is? It's like if you don't like him and you want to just then don't even then fire him. You know, like I'm with you when what you said. Like either get behind him or if just fire him because
Like the
you're not doing
Austin,
anything.
the
Yeah.
Austin. Yeah,
Part of the problem too with Eric Watts though is that he's kind of very bland.
yeah.
You know, like
Well,
there's nothing about him. He
well,
doesn't even have a nickname. It's
well.
not even like
But that's up
Dustin
to you.
Rhodes.
That's up to you. That's up to you know. I mean, if you
Yeah,
just trot out Matt Bourne as Matt Bourne, he stinks. But you trot him out as Doink, and they're still making action figures of the guy.
that's true. Yeah. So they could have given something, but yeah, it was. I also thought was the match was okay. It wasn't a bad match so far. I think it
So
was
far, it's actually not that. It's way better than '92. Yeah,
yeah. It's not
but
terrible. Yeah,
it doesn't
Eric
like
Bischoff.
doesn't maintain it. Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Bischoff. He recaps the problems between Max Payne and Johnny B. Bad. The angle where Max Payne he stole Johnny B. Bad's blaster and then he fucking blasts it right in his face. I remember watching this when I was a kid, and I remember I'm a kid. I'm like I'm like maybe 10 years old. I thought this was real.
Yeah.
I really thought this was real.
You were like
When
dead
he,
Max Payne.
yeah, when he shot that blaster in his face, I was like, oh man, he really hurt his face. Anyway, this is the grudge match. Max Payne um comes down playing a solo, and it goes off with fireworks. It's so cool, but he's the bad guy, and here comes Johnny B. Bad with the mask on, and Johnny B. Bad starts off hot, and then he goes flying over the top rope to the floor, and then Max Payne goes outside and beats on him, puts him back to the ring, keeps beating on him, and he's even hitting the Max Payne, actually the painkiller armbar, but Johnny B. Bad's too close to the ropes, he's able to get out of it. Johnny B. Bad is able to drop kick Max Payne out of the rope, out of the ring, I'm sorry, I should say, and then planchas onto Max Payne's back when Max Payne is not looking. It's yikes move. It looks like a hard fall. Even Jesse Ventura calls it out and says it was a dumb move, which it really was. Why would you plancha when the guy's not looking?
Because they don't
You're
know what
gonna
they're doing.
yeah, you're gonna either hurt him or you're gonna hurt yourself. In this case, it looked like Johnny B. Bad hurt himself. Anyways, Max Payne he headbutts the post by accident, and then Johnny B. Bad goes to the top ropes. He stumbles off and he has to climb back up again, and then he hits a very ugly looking crossbody for the win. When I was a kid, like I said, I thought that blaster thing was real. So when I was a kid, I was actually really hoping to watch this match. I was like, man, I actually kind of want to watch this match. I never got to watch it because I didn't order the pay per view. Now that I've watched this match, it is terrible. It is not a good match.
It's not a good. It's not good. This Max Payne thing. I have you noticed? So Eric Bischoff takes over at the beginning of the year, but we really don't know. They're not like to his credit, and I think smartly, he didn't run around and announce it on TV like they did with Jim Herd and Kip Fry and fucking Bill Watts, and he kind of kept them on the DL. But have you noticed every time they start a Max Payne segment, he's there. I think he thought Max Payne was gonna be like a big deal for them. And I don't know what they see in him besides the fact that he can play the guitar. You know, a lot of people can play the guitar. He's
No,
horrible.
not a lot of wrestlers could.
I mean, a lot of people just give a good give Eric Watts a manager who can play the guitar. There you go. That's the solution. Like, because I don't know what they think. They think this is the thing. I've never heard of. I think Eric Bischoff thinks he has something in Max Payne, like something big, and they're trying to figure it out. But he's not. You have nothing. You have nothing. This stunk. This
No,
was
but Max Payne, it is something because the actual wrestler, he did come up with the name Max Payne himself. That gimmick is
no,
all
no.
his
I'm
idea.
saying that there's nothing in terms of talent there or upside.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but like if I was remember this is the 90s and it's like if there's a guy when I hear that his name is Max Payne, which does sound like a really good wrestling name. You
It
gotta
does.
give him
It's a good wrestling name. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, oh, his name's Max Payne. He came up with this gimmick himself, and he also plays the guitar and he's humongous. I would be like, you know what? I don't think it's I would think it would be worth signing this guy and fucking giving it a shot.
Well, okay, but
Now,
also like I mean, his gear is awful. He looks like a homeless
yeah, I would
guy.
have been like, dude, you got to change your fucking gear a bit.
I
And
think they thought. I think they thought they're going for like a Kurt Kurt Cobain thing with him, but it doesn't work because he's not even playing like grunge guitar. He's playing like hair metal guitar. I don't know. It's really like weird. But ultimately, here's the
but
deal.
they're also not pushing this guy to the moon. I mean, this is like he's fighting Johnny B. Bad, who has
But
so far.
they're pushing him just enough. Like they're making you know that what he does is kind of special.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. I think that's fair. I think like I'm
Um,
not upset with his placement. This was like a four. By the way, we both talk about how bad this match is. It's also just like a 4 minute match.
it
It's
feels like
not,
it feels like a
yeah,
20 minute.
that was the best part. So it's not even like they're giving him a lot of time. So I'm like, now if they gave him like a 15-minute title shot match, I would be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? But it's a 4 minute match against Johnny B.
Well,
Bat, who's
I'll say
also
this.
not doing Hamilton.
I think they were on the way to do that. I think they had in the back of their head they're eventually going to give this guy a title shot. They didn't get
All
there
right.
because they woke up, but
All right, we're gonna go to match number 5. This is for the tag titles. It is Arn Anderson and Paul Roma representing the Four Horsemen versus the Hollywood Blondes of Brian Pillman and Steve Austin. Brian Pillman, he gets into it with a fan in the front row before the match even begins. Austin and Roma, they start, and Steve Austin's got a for people who watched Steve Austin after his neck injury, you're really doing yourself a disservice. You need to watch him while he's in WCW because Steve has such a quickness in everything he does. Every single movement, he's so fast. He is the fastest one in this match, in my opinion. And um, everything he does is fast, even including the bumps he takes is very fast. But unfortunately, the Horsemen have the edge early on against the Blondes. And the Bonds are just taking bumps left and right. When Brian Pillman is in there with Arn Anderson, Brian does this thing where he keeps collapsing. And it finally leads to a cheap shot on Arn, and Brian kind of gets the edge, but he still jumps to the rails, and the Blondes seem to be once again still at a loss, but they return the favor and they drape Paul Roma on the rail. And from this point on, two things happen. Brian Pillman, the Blondes, they start gaining the advantage and they start gaining the heat on the Horsemen. And two, Brian Pillman starts getting a wedgie that he will have for the rest of this match.
yeah, he doesn't pick it. He doesn't pick it. He just lets his ass hang out.
Yeah, he just has his. He looks like he has that Rhea Ripley look, where like half his ass cheek is just hanging out.
Yeah.
He does not fix it. So funny. It's the rest of this match, guys. Paul Roma and Brian Pillman, they both miss a drop kick and are both down. Paul Roma makes a hot tag to Arn, but Roma, like an idiot, distracts the referee himself, which allows the Blondes to put the heat on Arn Anderson and a double team. Roma keeps distracting the referee, and these distractions they're gonna just they're gonna cost Arn Anderson a bunch of times, like just so many times. And then Arn finally suplexes Steve over the top rope to the floor. Arn Anderson throat chops Brian Pillman and makes the hot tag, and Roma starts cleaning up. And then Roma rolls up Austin, but Brian Pillman clotheslines him from behind, from clotheslines him behind the ref's back to reverse the cover, and Austin holds the tights again to win. We saw this kind of finish already, but I thought this match was still good, mostly because of the blondes.
This match was pretty good. I really didn't mind it. Again, like I hear nothing that Paul Roma is the worst wrestler to ever live, and then I'm actually enjoying this match. Um, yeah, I really liked it. I really had a good time with this match. Austin and Pillman were a great tag team, man. They were
Yeah,
really
they were
good.
so good.
And I can't believe they forced them to break up, but it happens I think pretty soon after this. But it is what it is. Yeah, I enjoyed this match. This was fun.
Mhm. I mean, at this point, how long have the blondes been teaming up? It's been over a
I think
year now.
since since February. Around December, there's still like a dangerous alliance, like kind of hovering around. So they're not together.
Um,
Yeah,
okay.
they're in the dying days of the dangerous alliance, but they're still kind of there.
Okay. Eric Bischoff and Missy Hyatt are there back in their hosting area, and Missy says she loves the Hollywood Blondes, and Eric Bischoff starts asking her, "Hey, what are your thoughts on Rick Rude versus Dustin Rhodes in a 30-minute classic?" And she says, "Ooh, 30 minutes with those two guys. It feels like it's like a dream." Um, I
So
like Missy.
she wants to fuck him for 30 minutes, both of them.
I like Missy Hyatt, but like from all the interviews that I'm seeing and the shoot interviews, they both don't like each other.
No,
Like
they
Eric
hate.
and Missy, they hate each other. Yeah,
Yeah,
they hate each other. And their way Eric Bischoff talks about her, like she added nothing, she did nothing, and I'm like,
I
no,
don't.
I wouldn't. She did. She didn't.
I
She
have.
didn't.
I think there was something personal going on. I wouldn't be surprised if because Eric was a swinger. I wouldn't be surprised like, why did you join me and my wife? And she was
Yeah,
like,
she has said that he tried, like he was
there's
like
something more
freaking.
personal there because
Yeah,
like you can't say that she had no talent. Like you're out of your fucking mind.
exactly.
You
By
fucking
the
have
way,
Sonny Ono running around for 6 years. You're gonna say that she has no talent.
exactly. By the way, she discovered Marcus Alexander Bagwell. By the way,
Yeah.
yeah, she
Yes, by
discovered
fucking him,
him.
right?
No, they
Oh.
lived in the same apartment
Okay,
complex,
by
and
fucking.
he went up to her and he said, "My brother wants to get in wrestling. How does he start?" And she was like, "What about you? You got a good look. Why don't you get into wrestling?" And he was like, "How do I do that?" And she was like, "I'm gonna get you in contact with a trainer. You train with him, and then when you get decent enough, send me a tape, and then I'll give it to like Eric Bischoff." And that's exactly what happened. So she got him a job.
We have her to
So
blame. Okay, cool.
yeah,
Maybe that's why Bishop
match,
doesn't like her.
yeah,
Deal
match
with this
number
fucking
6 for the
Bagwell guy because of you.
what?
To deal with this fucker Bagwell because of you, you dumb bitch.
Yeah, match number 6 is for the U.S. title. It is an Iron Man 30-minute challenge. Rick Rude tries to come out and start posing to his newest theme. It does not match. It really doesn't match. And he is going to be facing Dustin Rhodes, whose theme Jesse Ventura hates. He's like, "Oh, this
Uh,
hillbilly should have
I like
stand
that. I
him."
like that theme. That's Cody Rhodes' like favorite theme. He has it as a ringtone. He sings it. I was like, he said on Talk Is Jericho. He goes, that's a top 5 theme of all time, and I won't. And
Dustin,
Dustin's
Dustin's
like, you're out of your
theme.
fucking mind to Cody, and Cody goes, no, the Natural's a top 5 theme of all time.
So funny. That's so funny. By the way, this is for the vacant title. Nobody has this title, so the winner will get it, I believe. So they lock up and they roll around against the ropes to illustrate that they are both kind of dead even. This happens twice. The
They're
referee
jockeying.
breaks it up. What?
They're jockeying for position.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. They do it twice and it looks like a real struggle. And afterwards, when the ref breaks it up, they start getting into a shouting match. I love it because it really feels like a real, like, this is not wrestling is fake,
Mhm.
but you still need to pretend it's like a fight. Like you need to like still put on this illusion that it's like a fight, and these guys are really doing that. 5 minutes into this match, Dustin Rhodes finally gets control and he starts mocking Rick Rude's hip thrusts, which really disgusts Jesse Ventura. Rick Rude, however, starts beating on Dustin, And when he has him in a grounded chin lock, he asks Dustin, "How you like it, huh? How do you like it?" And he starts blowing snots all over him, kind of like how Chris Benoit used to do, just like blowing snots right over the guy. Dustin starts working on Rude's left leg, and Rude is able to fight out of it and hits a backbreaker, and then the Rude Awakening neck breaker for the first pinfall. So Rude has one fall. Dustin struggles through the start of the second half, and at the 9-minute mark, Rude hits at the 5-minute mark. Rude hits a flying hammer fist and shouts, "You ain't shit, Rhodes!" And Tony Schiavone goes, "Well, the pitfalls of live TV," which I thought was really good. At 5 minutes, when there's 5 minutes left, Rude blows more snots and spits on Dustin, and then Dustin returns the spit onto Rick Rude, and then gets irate for his troubles for doing that. And then they go outside. Rude blows more snots on Dustin when Dustin rolls on the outside, and Rick Rude's still in the ring. And when he does that, he blows some of his snot, gets onto referee Nick Patrick's arm, and he's so disgusted. There's so much snot blowing in this match. It's pretty gross. Dustin, however, is able to hit a bulldog for his first fall, and there's only 3 minutes left in the match. These guys are tied up. Back and forth last minute. Dustin hits a DDT and covers him just as the time expires, resulting in a draw. So it is a draw. Nobody wins a title. What did you think about this?
Waste of time to do a draw. Just a waste.
Yeah, it's a waste of time to do a draw. Yeah,
it's clear that you just want to kill 30 minutes on your fucking show because your storylines aren't going anywhere. Yeah, that's all it is. It's a waste of time. You can't do a 5-minute like overrun. People paid $30 for this, and it's just or whatever the fuck it was back then. And it's a waste of time. And you know who's not that good? I've decided. You know who's not that good? Rick Rude. That's a motherfucker who's overrated.
Oh, man, we saw him fucking like carry Ultimate Warrior to a bunch of
matches. Yeah, but I haven't seen a good match ever since he wrestled the fucking Warrior. All his matches are like, yeah, it's okay. Or if it's a really good match, it's usually because of everyone else in the ring, not him. I don't know. This was boring to me, and the fact that it was a draw, it's like you just want to kill 30 minutes. You just.
Do you think like Rick Rude was like they were like, what? It's gonna be a fucking draw? This is so fucking stupid. And his heart just wasn't.
Because back then they did that a lot. Back then, I mean, that's how they would do all that house shows. I get it, but like to me, I think a draw is just it's a waste of time. It is a waste
of time. You know me. I don't like draws. I think it's stupid. If you're gonna do a draw,
I think a draw works in like a King of the Ring when you like want to have a guy get a bye. That's fine. But here, when like this is supposed to be a hotly contested title, it's a feud, and you just do a draw. It's like you just want to kill time. That's all you're doing.
Yeah. Anyway, Tony Schiavone, he recaps the problems between Ric Flair and Barry Windham and the feud that they're having. They show you recaps of them fighting basically everywhere. It's going to go to our penultimate match, match number 7. It is for the NWA title. Flair, who when he comes out, he gets his music cut right at the entrance. Versus Barry Windham, who is the champion. So many technical problems in fucking WCW. I love it. It's just like what they do. That's just what they do. It's charming at this point. Barry Windham, he is much faster than Ric Flair, which gives him an edge, even sending Flair to outside and suplexing him back into the ring. Barry Windham hits a great flying clothesline. The way he does it off the ropes, it's amazing. He does these flying clotheslines where he throws his body into it, so he like gets off his feet, he just flies, and it's fast, it's very impactful. He throws his whole body into it. It looks beautiful. People should throw more flying clotheslines like this guy.
Yeah.
After some back and forth, Flair goes over the top rope. He runs the apron to the adjacent corner and actually gets a body press onto Barry Windham, who unfortunately reverses it into a cover for a 2 count. This is that move that Ric Flair normally does. You see him do, but normally they catch him and they throw him off. This time he actually hit it, which is kind of fun when you see him actually hit it. But it's ugly. He doesn't do good flying. Flair gets Barry in a figure 4, and Windham has his shoulders down while he's in the figure 4, and the ref counts 3, And just as Barry gets up, and the ref says, no, it counts. His shoulder's on the mat, and he asks for the bell, and Ric Flair gets the belt. It's kind of confusing. Jesse talks to Flair about winning it for the 10th time. You won this title for the 10th time, and Flair says, it's time to style and profile, and he starts calling everybody out. He wants to face everybody. What a weird ending. I think it was almost like they fucked it up. I wasn't sure.
It was weird. It's odd to me. They get Flair back, and they're not treating him like a big deal yet, which is weird. And like, to me, the NWA title doesn't mean anything. But even the fact that like now he won this again, that should be like it just felt like, okay, we'll give him this belt. This will be his fucking consolation prize he can walk around with, right? But like, we really don't give a shit about this guy. But it's weird because everyone wanted him back. I mean, they're chanting for Flair so many times throughout 91 and 92, and now he's back, and they're almost like going out of the way to minimize him. And I mean, this is the first Flair singles match on a WCW pay-per-view since Super Bowl 91, and they don't even make it like a big deal. They just like put it out there, like they don't talk about it ahead of time. It's just like I don't know. I kind of, it was a very like deflating thing to see. Like they're Ric Flair's gonna come back to the top of WCW later on, but like I almost feel like they're like, ugh, they're annoyed that they have to push him or have him on TV.
Yeah, in this match, the ending is very weird. So Ric Flair has Barry Windham in the figure four, and Barry is kind of like laying down on the mat with his shoulders down, kind of like how he beat Macho Man before in WWF, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is this: when Flair beat Macho Man like this in WWF, Macho Man was like passed out.
Yeah.
Remember? Like he passed out in the figure four from the pain, and that's why his shoulders were down, and he counted three. Barry Windham is not passed out. He's struggling a bit, but his shoulders just happen to be on the mat, and the referee starts counting. Barry Windham can see that the ref is counting, and he still decides not to get his shoulders up. The ref counts three right when it's just a weird ending. They don't ring the bell right away, even though the bell ringer is kind of the bell keeper is, even he's a little confused. The fans are confused. Very odd way to end a match. It just was.
Yeah,
If you want to make it,
I kind of feel like they're over the NWA title. They're over Flair, but they
yeah, this was like a Bill Watts thing, and it's just like
it was
over.
it was really weird, and yeah, but you know, it all goes away at Starrcade '93. That's when they start making him star of the show again. But
Yeah. All right, so Eric Bischoff and Missy Hyde, they talk about the main event. That's what we're going to go into right now. It is the 8th and final match, Masters of the Powerbomb. Big Van Vader and Sid Vicious with Harley Race and Colonel Rob Parker. These two guys, I will admit, when I was a kid, I was scared of this tag. I thought they were I was like, nobody can beat these guys. Nobody can. They're just humongous. They're going to be fighting Sting and the Bulldog, the superpowers. And Sting and Sid, they start the match. Sting's trying to hit him and hit him. Sid just fucking choke slams Sting to stop all the momentum he was trying to build. It was a great move. They do a double. However, the superpowers they do like a double top rope clothesline, and they're back in charge. Vader and Davey, they do the reset, and Davey hits a delayed vertical suplex on Vader that gets a lot of cheers because it's very impressive.
oh yeah,
But Vader does his body press, and he starts doing his elbow drops to Davey Boy's dick. Davey starts getting manhandled by both Vader and Sting, and Vader gets heated at one point. And he rips his own mask off. Behind the referee, Harley Race gets on the apron. He holds Davey for Vader, and Vader goes for a splash, but Davey Boy Smith moves out of the way, and Vader splashes Harley off the apron, which allows Davey to make the hot tag finally to Sting. But it doesn't matter because the momentum swings back as now it's Sting's turn to start getting the beating on, and he starts getting pounded on until he makes a hot tag to get Davey Boy Smith back in the ring, who also gets dropped really quickly, and we start getting a Vader chant. That's right. Even though Vader's the bad guy, people love fucking Vader. Vader does the Vader bomb, which is, when he's in the corner and he just fucking does that body splash off the corner, and he covers Davey Boy Smith but Sting is able to break it up. And Sting and Sid, they start fighting up on the ramp, right? They start fighting on the ramp as Vader hits a moonsault right onto Davey Boy Smith's fucking face, right? And he covers him, but Sting comes running down the ramp, flying over the top rope for the save. It is a great single camera shot. I love that angle they had. You see all four men. You see Sting in the background, and you see him run towards Vader and just fly over. It's a beautiful shot. Davey Boy Smith somehow, even though he gets moonsaulted by Vader right into the face, he somehow hulks up. He runs the ropes and he hits a crucifix cover on Vader for the win. The superpowers run away onto the ramp, and Vader gets so mad. He hits Tony Schiavone and throws Tony Schiavone's chair in anger. What did you think about this final match?
It was good. It felt more like a TV match than a pay-per-view main event, but it was fine. It was fine for what it was, you know?
Yeah, I would say overall this was not a good pay-per-view, Beach Blast 1993, but the final match, this match between the superpowers of the
Yeah.
Masters of the Power Bomb and the superpowers, it at least sent the fans home happy. So it made the pay-per-view scene better than it actually was. It's like
Well, yeah. It's funny because like the show starts off kind of good and it's building on a nice pace, and then the three main matches just suck a lot of life out of it. I just kind of feel like they didn't know where to take the stories. So they kind of just have things stay as is throughout the show. Like they don't really advance anything. And I know so the original plan is for Sid and Vader to be the main event of Starrcade and Sid to beat Vader and finally get the belt. And then Sid attacks Arn with scissors in November. So I understand they're building towards Sid turning on Vader, you know?
yeah.
So that's why they did this. So I'm sure in their head they're like, well, we're eventually gonna have Sid be our top baby face.
I mean, and Sid is very popular.
Yeah,
He's
he
very
is. He
popular
is.
since returning.
But
Yeah.
then I guess if he didn't do the scissors things and we saw Sid as the top baby face in '94, this would make a lot more sense. But overall, I don't know. I just it was like it wasn't offensively bad, but like I said, like I said earlier, like there's not a lot to say about this show. It just kind of happens, and then you move on.
Yeah. And those of you guys who don't know what the scissor thing is, backstage, like not on the show, like not on like in front of the cameras, Sid Vicious, he gets into an argument with Arn Anderson, and they get in an actual physical fight where he attacks Arn Anderson with a pair of scissors. You can imagine the amount of blood and shit with scissors. It's basically assault. It's not good. It's not a good look.
You know what's so weird about Bischoff goes like now like I should have fired both of them, and then when they rehire Sid in '99, they go like, hey, did you clear with Arn? And he goes, well, why would I? And I'm just like, well, because he attacked him with fucking scissors. Like, so Arn even says, I just showed up at work one day and there was Sid. And I'm like, okay. And they made up. They talked about it in '99. And it's like.
Yeah, they did make up. Yeah.
But still, it's like, I think you should kind of ask Arn Anderson, like, hey, we're going to have Sid.
Yeah, but that's why Eric Bischoff is stupid.
That's why wrestling
I still think Eric Bischoff is an idiot. Like he's an idiot, and he just does stupid things.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, so far, I mean, he's putting WCW in a better direction than Bill Watts. So you got to give him that.
Yeah, I got to give him that. And like you said, he's the only man who beat Vince McMahon. Somebody said, Missy Hyatt, by the way, one of the shoot interviews, she said, of course he was able to like make WCW succeed. Look at the talent he had. And you know what? Here's the thing. That's not always true. Because you can have all the talent in the world and you could still fuck shit up. Case in point, Tony Khan. Like he's still, even though I think he's an idiot, he was just smart enough to beat Vince McMahon.
He figures out and it takes him a while, but he figures out the formula between Puro, cruiserweight wrestling, and sports entertainment. He figures out the right little recipe, and it works for a few years. And the minute he loses that formula of the right mix of Puro, Japanese Mexican wrestling versus Hulk Hogan fighting King Kong Bundy, once he loses that mix, they never recover. So
yeah, you're right.
All right, guys. So let's review the next 4 weeks. Next week, it's going to be WrestleMania weekend. We're going to be talking about SummerSlam '93, Yokozuna versus Lex. 2 weeks from now, it's Fall Brawl 93, Team Vader versus Team Sting. 3 weeks from now, it's Halloween Havoc 93, Cactus Jack versus Vader. And then 4 weeks from now, and I can't believe they did this, it's a Battle Bowl pay-per-view. Not Starrcade. They were like, this is too good for Starrcade. We need to give it. They only do it once, but there's a Battle Bowl pay-per-view. I can't believe they did that.
I'm not looking forward to that. I'll tell you that.
I'm wondering, like, I want to ask like an older fan. We're like older fans being like, no, Battle Bowl needs to be every year, and they're like, oh, these older fans are telling us like, so we should do it. Like, someone has to like Battle Bowl.
You know what it is? It's kind of like, I think this is what I think personally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have WBF, they have their signature pay-per-view, which is like the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
They were like, we need our own like signature like
I think
match,
that's working.
gimmick match themed pay-per-view, and I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it only lasts once. You know what's so funny? Because I was the other day, someone wrote Starrcade 94 is the worst Starrcade of all because Hulk Hogan and Bruce Beefcake were in the main event, and I said no, Starrcade 91 is worse, and they're like, no, dude, and I'm like, no, I'm like, dude, you haven't watched Starrcade 91, all right? It's fucking worth. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna tell you right now, we haven't seen it yet, and it's gonna be a while until we see it. Starrcade 94 is a better show than Starrcade 91. I can guarantee it. And Hogan versus Beefcake is probably better than most of the matches on that show.
I believe you, brother.
All right, guys.
Wait.
That's the podcast. Follow us on social media, Ray Goots Comedy, Ray Goots. Also, we have a show. We'll talk more about it next week. And, the ECW reunion show. Follow us on social media to buy tickets for that. There'll be a link in the description. And, stay tuned for next week. We didn't have a lot to say this week. We're going to have a lot to say next week with SummerSlam 93. So we'll see you there.
I think so, yeah. I can't wait for a WWF pay-per-view. I got to get out of this WCW.
Oh, we're going to have 3 weeks of WCW. By the way, that's the last time we have 3 weeks of WCW.
No, next week is WWE.
No, I mean, after SummerSlam 93, we have 3 weeks of WCW in a row. Before Survivor Series 93, which also sucks. So, but that's the last time. That never happens again on this journey. So
good.
All right, we'll see you next week for SummerSlam.